Hi, folks. This is Mountain Man coming to you from parts unknown. I'm giving it a shot tonight and simulcasting on Rumble and Utizzle. Giving it a try and see if we get it through smooth this time. But anyway, hope everybody's doing well. And we got a lot to talk about. We keep an eye on resignations, right? We got tariff news. We got all kinds of news. But if things keep going the way they're going, we're losing. We got to turn it around. But anyway, folks, and I don't even know what's going on with Zelensky and Putin. Trump said Zelensky didn't even read the deal that Trump has been working so hard on putting forward. But anyway, we'll talk about that stuff. We'll talk about a lot of stuff. But anyway, what do? I play some videos while people come into the chats. And I'm going to do that now while you get yourself a cup of coffee or an adult beverage, whatever you want, maybe just a glass of water. But anyway, then we'll be like butter and get on a roll.
Corralled into this box where we either have to hate Vladimir Putin and believe everything evil that's said about him and love Ukraine, and there's no in between. And that reminds me a lot of you're either a white supremacist or you go with the Democrat narrative on everything under the sun.
The most lethal terrorist threat to the homeland today, white supremacy.
And I want to understand white rage, and I'm white.
I mean, there's as much interference here as you could possibly imagine. Before you even get to Hunter Biden, Nancy Pelosi, John Kerry, Mitt Romney, and all of their children who earn millions from Ukrainian gas companies. These days, it's hard to believe anything because they've lied about COVID, they lied about Russia collusion, they lied about the Ukraine impeachment trial, and there's so much more going on in Ukraine that nobody is talking about.
Does Ukraine have chemical or biological weapons?
My job as a journalist is to try to understand what is the truth here. I don't like being lied to, and we're being lied to on an epic scale. When we're told your only choice is you have to be 100% with Zelensky. Slava Ukraine, who's a puppet who you can find on the internet in black stilettos and leather pants. Zelensky was selected, like so many of our leaders. And honestly, with big tech and with election fraud these days, we don't know how many leaders all around the world have been selected for us and weren't actually voted in.
How to build back better.
We have to build back better.
Build back better.
If Donald Trump gets the Republican nomination, there are many of us that will move heaven and earth to ensure he doesn't win.
We are fighting the same battles all over the world. To pretend that this war is about Russia and Ukraine is a barefaced lie. Putin has been warning for 15 years that he is not going to stand by while the globalists take over the world, build bioweapons facilities and whatever else they're doing in Ukraine. Ukraine has been a center of money laundering for many of the leaders in this country. Billions of US dollars have been laundered through Ukraine, and we say nothing about it. Does nobody question these things? We have an idiot like Lieutenant Colonel Vindman.
Mr. Vindman.
Lieutenant Colonel Vindman, please.
Do you always insist on civilians calling you by your rank?
And sits there as a lieutenant colonel. He didn't even make colonel. And he's telling the president of the United States what his policy should be. You have a traitor in the form of Maria Yovanovitch, who was Obama's ambassador, who's telling Ukrainian government officials, don't listen to the will of the American people.
In his July 25th phone call with Ukrainian President Zelensky, the president badmouthed Yovanovitch, calling her bad news.
I was shocked, absolutely shocked.
And then she's given a cushy job for life at Georgetown University, and we're told that the president of the United States cannot say to his foreign counterparts that we want you to look into something.
If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money. Oh, son of a bitch. And they put in place someone who was solid.
So much hypocrisy and dishonesty here, and Ukraine is at the center of it all.
You want to play this? Okay. Come on. Okay. You want to play rough? Okay. Say hello to my little friend.
Storm zone.
Yes, sir.
I'm wondering what storm you're talking about.
They have unsuccessfully tried to take down the wrong person.
He's absolutely going to come back with full vengeance the next time around.
Think about what 4 years of a retribution presidency might look like. Our Constitution really does give the president tremendous power to destroy. This will be something we could never have imagined.
Now the gloves are off.
Some of Trump's close political allies told him they are working on figuring out the identities of the FBI and DOJ staff and forming lists.
I will direct a completely overhauled DOJ to investigate every radical DA and AG in America for their illegal, racist enforcement of the law. The deep state is destroying our nation, but the tables must turn and we will quickly destroy the deep state. We know where the bodies are buried. There are a lot of people out there that have done some very, very evil things, very bad things, I would say treasonous things against our country. People that have done such harm to our country. I've been looking at them for a long time.
He could order the investigation and prosecution of individuals who he sees as enemies.
Put them all in jail where they belong. You gotta get tough and smart, and you have to fight fire with fire. You can't allow this to go on. And I will be the one to clean it up. I am your retribution. We will take care of it. We will take care of it.
Hi, folks. Welcome aboard. Thank you for joining me tonight. I hope you all are doing well. I've had this as my screen for a while. I never put it up. Yeah, I'll put it up. That way I can move on, but you all might want to get a screenshot of it. Notice Hunter Biden isn't on any executive boards anymore. Odd, huh? Yeah, that's awful odd. Let's see. I like that theme about you crizzle. But anyway, we're going to get into that. Hi, Sissy. How you doing? Whoa, come on now, chats. Colette, nice to see you. Randy, Sherry, Rain's here. Brett, nice to see you. Mountain Man, Hairface. I'll just call you Hairface. Yeah. Cold in the mountains. Wow, 11 degrees. Jiminy Crickets. Keep that water running. Hi, Ann. Damon, nice to see you. Yeah, so let's see. Wayne's here. Give me thumbs up. Y'all make sure you give me a thumbs up now. My last video got taken down, blocked worldwide because of that Saturday Night Live clip, and I had to take it out. So it was down for a number of hours. Hi, Rebecca. Nice to see you. Kim. Nice to see you, Miss Mendersu. Nice to see you. And but I got 100 and some likes and 1,400 views last time I looked. MS Motorsports, nice to see you. So yeah, we had a lot of fun last time. Gary, what's going on up there in Alaska? We had a volcano and in Hawaii. And an earthquake near Alaska-Canadian border. And then, oh my goodness, what is going on? Anthrax, how you doing? Let's see who else is here. Let's see. Cole here, Gary's here. Flannel Cheese, where's Flannel Cheese? Oh, I got the names mixed up because they're switching names on me. Yvonne, nice to see you. Araceli, Tammy's here. Everything's all right now. Tammy is here. So anyway, yeah, that's a good little thing for you to put on for people to think about. What happened to all those boards Hunter was on? How they get on them boards? We know how they get on them boards. They're crooked as hell. But we're seeing a modus operandi, and with this Somali fraud. Here's a cute couple, and I'm sure you all have heard it. How many of you all heard the clip of a tape recording of Lyndon Baines Johnson 60 years ago saying, we don't got to give them much, just a couple $100. It's really, when you think about it, it's a good program. And we'll have those, air quotes, people voting for us for the next 100 years. But he didn't use the word people. He used the word that starts with an N. That if you use it now, you have to open up a GoFundMe and hire a security guard. But yeah, how many of you heard that from Lyndon Baines Johnson? Here's some more shots of this character. One of many, Christian Aguayo put this up, Secretary of State Steve Simon and Senator Tina Smith with Somali illegal convicted of welfare fraud in Minneapolis. There he is. Same guy standing next to Elon in handcuffs. See him down there? He looks so happy. Yeah, a pretty miserable looking mess. So how much is that bird going to sing? Boy, he's around a lot of prominent people, and he's one of 70 that has been arrested and looking at some serious time in jail and deportation, stripped of citizenship and sent back. And somebody do me a favor. I'm going to put something on the screen. What the hell is this? Is this the next presidential candidate for the Democrats? That is not a AI picture or a meme. The idiot actually did this. Governor Newsom press office. Democracy requires flexibility. You better not pose like that when Justin Trudeau's around. But anyway, yeah, he actually posed like that. Here you go. It's all in good fun, though. Franklin calls ice on people who don't belong. Who writes these books? Whoever writes these books made a complaint. This is not the way where Franklin is much more open and accepting and blah, 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 blah. Nobody cares. It's parody. We can do anything we want with parody. We can make fun of you. So, and that's what we're doing. Making fun of you and your kind. Let me see. Who'd I miss? Did I miss anybody? Seems like I got it right. All right. So I didn't. What's going on with the? Is things settled down? Is the volcano still going off in Hawaii? I heard it was still doing something. What is the latest I got on Trudeau? Wait a second. Did you all hear the news on Trudeau? This is like some kind of sick fairy tale movie or something. Here's what I heard. Diamond Silk. Former world leader makes relationship with pop superstar official. After weeks of speculation and rumors, former Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau and American pop superstar Katy Perry have officially publicized their inner relationship. Okay. Yeah, if I dig up one of those photos of her doing her one eye symbolism and that one article that said she was making her music satanic, that they're like worms in a clump of dirt. But anyway, for some reason I thought he was betrothed to somebody. And here's something else we were talking about the other night. Monarchies. Report, King Charles planning last Christmas as health struggles mount. We heard he had cancer. Nothing sharpens the sense of time like illness. Add in old age, and the reflection only deepens. King Charles was already the oldest monarch in British history to take the throne. So apparently he thinks the Grim Reaper is near. And don't you know that somebody in his situation would have the best medical care available? Or is he going to vanish off into some retreat somewhere? There'll be stories about that like there was with Elvis for decades. But anyway, I have a disturbing couple of videos I want to play you all that raise some eyebrows. My eyebrows, anyway. Another Laura Logan video discussing the Inspector General's office. And the name that comes up is a name I have talked about in the past that has been put on the 17th letter. Do any of you have any idea who I'm talking about? And the assumption is that this person is a black hat, is working for the lizard people. I don't know. I'll play it for you. And then I have another video that's very concerning, discussing links between the Qataris and people who we thought were our friends. Very good, Randy. Horowitz, yes. Horowitz, is he a deep state black hat? Here you go. There you go, folks. Pirates of the Somalia. Do you have that in your quiver yet to put on your meta page? So people can wake up and understand that this is the Democrats' modus operandi since 1960s. All we got to do is give them a couple $100. They'll be voting for us for the next 100 years. He might have said 200 years, but I know he used the N-word. But now they're being replaced. Now they're being replaced. That's why, one of the reasons why I have Thomas Sowell pointing out a historical fact that the black family survived centuries of slavery and generations of Jim Crow, but has come apart in the decades since the liberal welfare state. That's where I need to find that video of Malcolm X saying there's nothing more dangerous than a white liberal. So anyway, that's sinking into people's heads undeniably. But the good news, I got to talk about a little bit of good news. White House gas prices plunge under Trump's policies. So it's down below $1.99 in many areas. And I see liberals putting up, I'm paying $4. Trump is crazy. I put in the comments, you live in California, genius. What do you expect? But anyway, I think Mr. Flexibility, Gavin Newsom, is going to be the next one publicly put on the hot seat for fraud. I think that's coming. Because somebody, here you go. Get people to think about this. Illegal aliens sent $56 billion in cash to their home countries last year alone. That's after their kids enjoyed free education, free lunches, and free medical care paid for by you. But I think Gavin Newsom, it all depends on the timing, because I think the Democrat Party is going to reap what they've sown. And what do I mean by that? You know, Gavin Newsom has got the Pelosi crime family behind him. He's got the entire media behind him. He's a double talker, okay? He's a double talker. He's greasy and slick. So they take him out through some big scandal. Who are they going to be stuck with? They're going to reap what they've sown. Right here, Jasmine Crockett launches Senate bid from Texas as Colin Allred drops out. This Colin Allred person is a Democrat who was very promising. A lot of people liked him. He was doing pretty good. But somebody put a bug in his ear and told him to drop out. And so Jasmine Crockett will be the face of the Democrat Party, which would be as big a disaster or bigger than Kamala Harris. But you know what? In all seriousness, if we don't get serious, it isn't going to matter. We got to get rid of that filibuster, or we're not going to have safe legislation passed to give us voter protection, such as voter ID and things of that nature. Trump is not going to get his cabinet members and appointees approved until we get rid of that damn filibuster. And if we don't have safe elections, there's only one way left, because this is the last chance. And the clock is ticking. I put in my, that's why I put in my thumbnail. Trump was overheard saying on a hot mic, and he was not in a good mood. They're in default, and then we're losing. And we can't afford to be losing right now. What am I talking about? They're in default, and then we're losing. An example, Alina Habba. Fox News put it out. Alina Habba becomes A.G. Bondi's senior advisor, leaving role as top New Jersey prosecutor. But ABC and that ilk put their headline up, Alina Habba resigns. Now, they may have put it on the top text. I say she's been reassigned. Breaking, Alina Habba, a fiery Trump loyalist, will step down from her role as top prosecutor in New Jersey after an appellate court ruled that A.G. Pam Bondi had improperly appointed her as a U.S. attorney. So we got these judges, on the one hand, for years, they will allow somebody like Jack Smith from over at The Hague, never been before the Senate, oversee the prosecution of Donald Trump, and nobody said a damn thing until Judge Eileen Cannon, after Trump went through hell for, what, a year and a half, 2 years? And this is about James Comey and Letitia James, two criminals that need to face the music. But they dismiss Alina Habba out of hand. So Trump has reassigned her with Pam Bondi's office, because if they go to the Supreme Court, here we go again, dragging it out for months. Bondi announced that Habba will now serve as the Attorney General's senior advisor. Habba has served as President Trump's personal defense attorney before the president elevated her as a temporary head of the New Jersey office. So the Democrats are just loving it. What's wrong with these idiots where don't you even want to hear the evidence? Don't you even want to get to the bottom of things that were tearing our country apart? No, they just want to go after Trump. But so what? Harvard, of all people, put out a poll. Trump outperforms Congress by 19 points. That must mean Congress is around what? 6 points? I don't know. Because Harvard doesn't poll Trump very friendly. But anyway, Trump might use that political capital. We shall see. And what do we do when John Thune, in charge of the Senate, and Trump can't get his appointees through? We're losing ground. We're losing time. Here is a statement. And Comey is slipping the noose, slipping his way out of the noose if we're not careful. Following the flawed Third Circuit Court decision disqualifying Alina Habba from performing her duties in the U.S. Attorney's Office for District New Jersey, I'm saddened to accept Alina's resignation. But that's another thing, folks. We got multiple resignations, okay? The court's ruling has made it untenable for her to effectively run her office, with politicized judges pushing trials designed to bring violent criminals to justice. These judges should not be able to countermand the president's choice of attorneys entrusted with carrying out the executive branch's core responsibility of prosecuting crime. This situation is particularly unfortunate given Alina's strong record of achievement in office. Under her leadership, Newark saw a 20% reduction in crime, and Camden experienced its first summer in 50 years without a homicide. Wow. The Department of Justice will seek further review of this decision, and we are confident it will be reversed. Alina intends to return to lead the U.S. Attorney's Office for the District of New Jersey if this occurs. In the meantime, Alina will be continuing with the Department of Justice as a senior advisor to the Attorney General for the U.S. attorneys, helping drive the fight against violent crime nationwide. Okay. That's they're going to keep pursuing it. But like I say, time is of the essence. Alina Habba put out a big long statement. Holy cow. She must have been pretty mad. There she is. Jiminy crickets. I don't know if I can read all this. For the past 5 years, I've fought for justice on behalf of the American people. And in my tenure under our great Attorney General Pam Bondi and Todd Blanche, we made New Jersey safer. Okay, yeah, 50 years. Does it say anything about the treasonous Comey, the deep state, these judges being part of it? I guess she's got to be careful if she's going to continue in front of these judges. For months, these judges, it's a flawed blue slip tradition. Yeah, we got to get rid of that too. We got to get rid of the blue slip tradition that became weaponized for political left, and we have to get rid of that damn filibuster. For months, these judges stopped conducting trials and entering sentences, leaving violent criminals on the streets. They joined New Jersey senators, who one of them sitting in jail, Menendez, New Jersey, who care more about fighting President Trump than the well-being of residents which they serve. For years, I fought against lawfare aimed at President Trump and against politics infecting our justice system. What these obstructionists misunderstood is my loyalty is not politics. It's a title or a zip code. It's to this great country. As a result of the Third Circuit's ruling and to protect the stability and integrity of office, which I love, I have decided to step down in my role as U.S. Attorney for the District of New Jersey. But do not mistake my compliance for surrender. Don't give up the ship. This decision will not weaken the Justice Department, and it will not weaken me. You go, girl. My fight will now stretch across the country as we wait for further review of the court's ruling. I will continue to serve the Department of Justice as the senior advisor to the Attorney General for U.S. attorneys. Ha ha! Here's the last line. Make no mistake, you can take the girl out of New Jersey, but you can't take New Jersey out of the girl. Well, come on back, baby. What does this mean for Comey and Letitia James? More particularly Comey, because they were saying the statute of limitations. These people are going to be walking free if we're not careful. But I'm sure. Hi, Pappy. Let me see. I'm just looking through the chats. Let's see. I guess I go ahead and talk about this. Let me play the Laura Loomer thing first. Let me play it, listen to her, and then I'm going to read a recap of what she's saying. And then I'm going to get into that business about Horowitz. Okay? Now, she's a firecracker, and some people don't like her, but I tell you what, if what somebody's putting out is true, we need to pay attention to it, whether we like them or not. Let's see what she got going on.
There are people inside Army Secretary Dan Driscoll's office who have been leaking to the media. And who are they leaking to? Well, according to high-level sources at the Pentagon, I am told that individuals inside Dan Driscoll's office at the Pentagon have been leaking information to Joe Biden's former national security advisor. Well, who is Jake Sullivan?
Driscoll is Secretary of the Army. Trump's Secretary of the Army. I mean, the way it sounds, I mean, they have got plants everywhere. But he's leaking to Jake Sullivan. Remember him?
Sullivan. And what is his connection to Dan Driscoll? Well, Dan Driscoll and Jake Sullivan both went to Yale Law School. Now, who is Jake Sullivan married to? Well, Jake Sullivan happens to be married to Maggie Goodlander, a Democrat representative from New Hampshire who is one of the seditious six. You may have seen this last week, there were calls to potentially court-martial Senator Mark Kelly and to hold the 6 Democrat officials accountable, lawmakers accountable, for encouraging members of the armed services to defy orders from the commander-in-chief, orders that they view as being illegal, right? Because they don't want to assist with deportations. They don't want to assist with the National Guard deployments. And so they said, well, if you think that these orders from the president are illegal, do not comply. Well, Maggie Goodlander is one of those representatives who participated in that video. And now there's an FBI investigation, and the Department of War is actually looking into whether or not they're going to court-martial Senator Mark Kelly, Democrat senator from the state of Arizona. Now, as I reported, and we can get this tweet pulled up, the graphics are inside the tweet. You can see for yourself. Democrat Congresswoman Maggie Goodlander, who hates President Trump, also went to Yale Law School. So you have a commonality here. The Yale Law School, well, who went to Yale Law School? A lot of people at the Department of War. Our own vice president went to Yale Law School. You have J.D. Vance, you have Elbridge Colby, you have Jake Sullivan, Maggie Goodlander, Army Secretary Dan Driscoll. Well, Maggie Goodlander, according to FEC records, donated a max donation of $2,800 to Dan Driscoll's congressional campaign when he ran for Congress in 2020. Now, why would a rabidly anti-Trump congresswoman married to Joe Biden's national security advisor who also worked for Hillary Clinton and also worked for Barack Hussein Obama. Why would this woman be donating a max contribution to the Army Secretary, who's best friends with Vice President J.D. Vance, who, J.D. Vance is the one who nominated Dan Driscoll to be the Army Secretary, if you didn't know that. Why would the wife of this anti-Trump operative, the architect of the auto pen, why would she donate to the so-called Republican Army Secretary? Why would she do that? Very strange. Very, very bizarre behavior going on here. Some of the people who attended Mackie Goodlander and Jake Sullivan's wedding include Hillary Clinton and Lisa Monaco, just to name a few. Anthony Blinken. Just a who's who of all the deep staters.
Wow. I didn't know that. One of the seditious six, Maggie Goodlander, is married to Jake Sullivan. And you heard all the other notorious names there at the end. Anthony Blinken, Lisa Monaco. She donated all that money to this Secretary of the Army, current Secretary of the Army. Driscoll. Oh, this is something else she put up. She put up something else about the delay in the Muslim Brotherhood designation, 75-day review period. But anyway, I'll get to that later if I have time. But high-level sources confirm that individuals inside Army Secretary Dan Driscoll's office are leaking directly to Jake Sullivan, whose wife is Maggie Goodlander, a member of the seditious six, saying, "Don't give up the ship. Don't obey illegal orders." Currently under FBI investigation for encouraging mutiny. She uncovered FEC records that show Goodlander maxed out donations to Driscoll's 2020 campaign. Why is the wife of a deep state operative bankrolling the Army Secretary? We cannot afford to have deep state moles or leakers inside the Pentagon. And this failure proves that we need much stricter vetting for every single person who steps foot inside this administration. Did she just find somebody who's participating in the crap they've been throwing at Hegseth, claiming Signalgate gave away battle plans and all the other crap that they try to throw at Hegseth? I don't know. But it stinks. Something stinks. Something's rotten in Denmark is the normal phraseology. But anyway, then on top of that, we have, where is that? Here it is. Eight letters. Horowitz, remember? And I'm thinking, oh, Huber and Horowitz, Inspector General's office is going to drop the hammer. That's what we were led to believe. But sometimes misinformation is necessary. Look over here, not over there. But this is the discussion concerning the office of the Inspector General. I'll tell you a bit of my theory after you hear this.
So when people talk about the deep state, in a sense, this is the command and control of a major part of the deep state.
No, it is the command and control of the deep state. Congress said, we want comprehensive oversight on both operations in Afghanistan and Iraq. Okay. And we want a plan for oversight. And we're going to delegate this directly to the chair of the SIGI.
I see. And so you really worked for the chair of the SIGI.
Well, this is the interesting piece. He, in turn, delegates it down to the IG at the DOD.
Yeah.
And I'm working for him.
Yeah. So you're working directly for the Inspector General at DOD.
But for the SIGI, actually.
But in effect,
You bet.
you really were working for the SIGI.
You bet.
And who at the SIGI?
Michael E. Horowitz.
Wow. Come on. Horowitz?
Yes.
One of the worst.
Yes.
One of the absolute worst. Horowitz of Russia collusion fame.
Yes.
Who now is is not out of the government, who now is at the Federal Reserve.
Right.
Waiting, ready to come back.
Right. Still probably providing emeritus status on the SIGI.
What was his position officially at the SIGI?
DOJ. He was the DOJ IG.
He was the Inspector General at DOJ.
And he replaced Glenn Fine, who went to DOD.
Wow, it's a really nice, tight, rotating
And his
circle
deputy,
of the same people.
And his deputy then went on to become the DOD IG. And his deputy spent 30 years over in the U.S. Attorney's Office, District of Columbia.
They really have it all sewn up, don't they?
The assistant FBI director for integrity and ethics worked for Glenn Fine and runs the FBI. Yes, think of the SIGI as an integrated command and control center.
So the buck stops with them.
Yes.
Because every complaint that is made
yes.
in any agency whatsoever
yes.
goes to the Inspector General, and from those IGs report to the SIGI.
Yes.
And it dies.
And are investigated by the SIGI.
And are investigated by the SIGI, and it all dies.
Yes.
That's where whistleblower complaints actually go to die.
If it's against the members of the SIGI.
Unless it's in their interest to prosecute it.
Yes. Politically, yes.
So when people talk about the deep state, in a sense, this is the command and control of a major part of the deep state.
No, it is the command and control of the deep state. It's in every bureau, every board, every agency, and every commission. One person, 2.3 million people in the executive branch. I only need about 40 people to run the whole show. As long as you ensure that no one can FOIA my records, as long as everything I do is law enforcement sensitive, and as long as anybody that is a whistleblower can get collective punishment.
Which is what you have seen with over 700 documented cases of people who've been retaliated against.
We see it every day.
Office of the Inspector General. Office of the Inspector General. All you need is 40 of them corrupted. And what is CG? I'll play it real quick. It'll put it on the screen.
Talk about the deep state, in a sense, this is the
it's a collection of Inspector Generals around the country.
No, it is the command and control of the deep state.
They're the command and control.
Congress said, we want comprehensive oversight.
It'll put it on the screen in a minute.
In Afghanistan and Iraq, and we want a plan for oversight. And we're going to delegate this directly to the chair of the SIGI.
I see. So
there it is. There it is. It's the Council of Inspector Generals on Integrity and Efficiency. CIGIE. CG. So if you go back and replay that, you'll hear how the command and control functions, how they bury problems. And when you think about it, this tip of the iceberg, $8 billion Somali fraud, that's been going on for years. What the hell has the Inspector General's been doing about that? That's a lot of Inspector Generals asleep at the switch. Asleep at the switch. Or are they? Are they really? Is there patriots installed in trusted positions as we've been told? But they can't act until Trump and military intelligence are in place, locked and loaded, ready to go. We were told three-letter agencies can be taken over by military intelligence if certain elements come together. Well, OIG, Office of Inspector General, is a three-letter agency, OIG. So we may be seeing the military take control because they either cannot perform or will not perform their duties, which is obvious with just the Minnesota situation. There's supposed to be inspector generals going over some books. This fraud in Minnesota is so massive. Ray Charles could have seen it. How come nobody did their job? Oh, since I had Gruesome Newsom up, this is Victor David Hansen's opinion of Gruesome Newsom. We know he's part of the Pelosi crime family. We know that's not his real name. Gavin Newsom is not his real name. But anyway, but Jasmine Crockett, she's trying to step up and save the Democrat Party. So there's going to be a little power struggle between these two.
Gavin Newsom right now will probably have a $17 billion deficit. California has the largest unfunded liability of $250 billion that they don't have the money to meet. Largest number of homeless, largest number of illegal aliens, most expensive houses, highest gas tax, highest electricity tax, highest sales tax. Not 1 foot of high-speed rail, $15 billion down the rat hole. Solar plant blows up, battery plant in Monterey, remember that? 2 of them, $1 billion. Solar plant in the desert, oh, it doesn't work anymore. That's just $2 billion. Oh, 17,000 driver's license. This is Gavin Newsom. But my point of all that is, why then is he funding a reparations commission? Or why does he give $500 million in Medi-Cal when Medi-Cal is broke and he needs $2 billion from the federal government, and 50% of the births are on Medi-Cal and 40% of the population are on Medi-Cal, and he gives illegal aliens Medi-Cal? He says he didn't, but he did. He said $500 million and now it's gone. But does he ever understand that he has a $17 billion deficit looming? Maybe that was the reason why. If you have the highest income taxes and the highest sales taxes and the highest gas taxes, you would think that you would be flush with cash. No, he's going to run for president. I don't know what he's going to do. Is he going to say, I'm going to do for California? I'm going to do for America what I did for California? I was just looking the other day what he's been saying. Here's my plan to lower electricity. Here's my plan to lower gas. Here's my plan to build 6-lane freeways and stop the carnage. Here's my plan to address high-speed rail boondoggle. Here's my plan to deal with the most homeless in the nation. Here's my plan to lower sales taxes. This is my plan to make housing the most expensive per square foot in the country. No, I'm going to hit Donald Trump in the mouth. He's a bully.
California is devastated. They don't realize how screwed they are. Minnesota, for all intents and purposes, is bankrupt right now. Bankrupt. If Scott Bessent from the Treasury wanted to claw back that money, and if the money that's been poured down the California rat hole, they tried to claw that back, both states are in economic peril. They're bankrupt. They've been destroyed. And, here's an example. What's going to happen with New York? Here's a good example. America, are you watching? New York communist mayor who favors defunding the police has decided to abandon his rent-controlled apartment to live in a mansion due to security reasons. Yeah, a hypocrite. A hypocrite. So, we want to be able to get through this with enough people being awake that there isn't a breach of civility on a large scale, because we're not going to lose. We're going to use the system, and we're going to use it right. But if they make it impossible, then there's plan Z, if you get my drift, where Trump would have to use the ultimate presidential powers to save the republic. We can't continue this way. Well, here's this Mom Dami again. What a disgrace. Mom Dami instructs illegal aliens how to evade, resist ICE in new video message. New York City Mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani released a video statement on Sunday in which he provided guidance to the illegal aliens in the city on how to evade and thwart U.S. immigrations and customs enforcement. Well, there's a term for that, for what he's doing. There's many terms. Aiding and abetting, encouraging sedition, committing subversion, sedition, subversion, whatever you want to call it, but it's obstruction of justice. Interfering with federal law enforcement operations. And we've got a multitude of mayors and governors that are doing the same damn thing. Here's this guy. He's just as good as stepping down. New rising Democrat star quits Senate race. Former Representative Colin Allred is bowing out of Texas's crowded U.S. Senate race, ending his second straight bid for the upper chamber of Congress as Democrats brace for an internal shakeup. Just hours before the filing deadline, somebody, Jasmine Crockett's handlers, okay? Remember, they went out of their way to recruit her. Just like they went out of their way to recruit Joy Reid. They do psychological profiles. These people are installed. They go to certain colleges. They learn certain talking points. They get refined. They get put in elections that are rigged to put them in positions of power. And they're nothing but puppets for the deep state. But anyway, here's one of Jasmine's first campaign ad.
How about this new one they have? Their new star, Crockett. How about her? She's the new star of the Democrat Party, Jasmine Crockett. They're in big trouble.
But you have this woman, Crockett. She's a very low IQ person.
I watched her speak the other day. She's definitely a low IQ person. Crockett. Oh, man, oh, man. She's a very low IQ person.
Somebody said the other day she's one of the leaders of the party. I said, you got to be kidding.
Now they're going to rely on Crockett. Crockett's going to bring them back.
I was expecting her to do one of those hand under the chin, like Kamala Harris did, with a hand under the chin. But yeah, that's their rising star, Jasmine Crockett. Jasmine Crockett enters the Senate race. She filed the official paperwork, beat the deadline, and what did Barack Hussein Obama do when he became a freshman senator? He gave the keynote address at Bill Clinton's the Democratic National Convention. Next thing you know, he was the president of the United States. Just like Bill Clinton gave the keynote address at the DNC. And he became president of the United States. They got the same modus operandi. So anyway, I I want to play this clip. It's hard to hear. Where is it? Trump was frustrated. Did he mean for the people to be able to hear him? Did he know there was a hot mic? Why is it taking 9-10 months and we still don't have votes even on his appointments? Oh, this isn't the right one. Wait a minute. This is another seditious little creepo. Let me get him out of there. Where is the video? I might have to go out of the studio and get it. Here it is. I got to put it in my studio. Here we go. This is behind the scenes in the White House. And you have to listen real close. Maybe you don't. I don't know. I'll play it twice. But this was after Alina Habba formally stepped down.
Hey, Jeff, you know I cannot appoint anybody. Huh? I can't appoint anybody. Everybody I've appointed, their time is expired. And then they're in default. And then we're losing. Hey, Jeff, you know I cannot appoint anybody. Huh? I can't appoint anybody. Everybody I've appointed, their time is expired. And then they're in default. And then we're losing.
He said, everybody I've appointed, their time expires. Then they're in default. And then we lose. What can he do to compel? How can an administration function going a year with their hand tied behind their back? They cannot appoint the people they want. They can't get a vote on the people they want to appoint. Is this a form of sedition? Knowingly hobbling the President of the United States? I'm talking about John Thune, along with Massey. Anyway, here's another idiot that is looking to get himself in some handcuffs, I believe, at some point.
And the message that we are sending to our Somali community, to our Latino community, to any community that is being targeted, is that we stand with you. Minneapolis is not backing down. Our police officers will not coordinate with any federal agency that is doing immigration law enforcement work. We stand with the community members that make Minneapolis the extraordinary place that it is, and we aren't backing down. We're rock solid in support of them.
Ilhan Omar was doing an interview, and she said 98% of the Somalis in Minnesota are citizens. That has to be looked at. How the hell can that be when they haven't learned the language? They haven't assimilated. How much time have they spent in the country? They haven't been self-sufficient. 70 to 80% of them are on the dole. How can that happen? We know how. Fraudulent. I want to go over the SCOTUS heard a case today. It was very interesting. Man, it was like 4 hours of listening to arguments over Trump's ability to fire people. And a lot of it is hinging on a dopey ruling from back in the 1930s. I'll go over that in a minute. But I want to thank Mike and Bev for going by Buymeacoffee and Wayne to start off this week real good. I appreciated Mike and Bev and Wayne, who always gives me thumbs up. And I know you all give me thumbs ups too. And if you hadn't, go out there and podge that button. Come back and I'll be here when you get back. And Pappy Two Bears helped finish up last week for me. Didn't you, Pappy? Ha ha. Hi, Felix. How you doing? Who do anybody here I miss? Larry, nice to see you. Is it that we're at a point where we're so far ahead of people that are sleeping and we're just getting frustrated? I mean, there are days I get really frustrated. And I did get a message that maybe from Mike and Bev, maybe we've gone too far in the hole. But my father thought that at a point after Roe v. Wade. How can the nation redeem itself after what it's done to its own flesh and blood for decades? But we have to think positively and we have to keep pushing forward. Let me get, I put stuff in I want to put up for laughs and then I never put it up. And next thing I know, my studio is clogged to the gills. So I'll put this up. And here we have people fleeing from free education and universal health care to start new lives under the horrors of capitalism. It does feel that way, doesn't it, Miss Minister? Sometimes it feels that way. Do we deserve God's grace as a nation? Before I get into the SCOTUS thing, what I wanted to put up was a resignation that we should have known. Well, we probably did know was coming. D.C. police chief resigns. Pamela Smith announces resignation. Remember her? She's the one they said, what's the chain of command? Do you all follow a chain of command? She said, what's that? What's the chain of command? You know she served 24 years for D.C. Parks and was a chief with the Parks and Recreation, I guess. In D.C., she got her retirement, but word is she's resigning over the scandal about manipulating the murder numbers, okay? I'm sure that is stuff they put on a federal form to report to the federal government, and you don't forge or put false information on federal forms. So we'll see about that. And look in the background. Muriel Bowser, last week, she announced she's stepping down also. So you have pretty much the head cadre in D.C. government checking out. There ain't too much in positions of power in a city besides the mayor and the chief of police. Well, thank you, Tammy, for going by my bed coffee. I might as well put up some booms. Good. Maybe I hope it hits her right now. Right now. Well, I won't say it. It's a word I learned. Oh, that's too close to Donald Trump. Get over there and get Muriel Bowser. Pow! I can't help where they go off. I just push the button and pow! No, you ain't going to hurt Donald J. Trump. Don't worry about that. Oh, my gosh. Somebody's messing with me. But anyway, I appreciate you going by. As a matter of fact, well, I am not going to put hearts up with those two characters on the screen. But anyway, So we were told to keep an eye on resignations. We got those two in just the past week in D.C. Goodbye. Here's the Babylon Bee put this up. Atheist looks forward to the warmth and cheer of arbitrary cultural traditions with no transcendent meaning. Yeah. What kind of life is that? Try to live your life without respect for the Lord, without believing that there's a higher power than yourself. What kind of life is that? You know, they raise hell about these drug dealers getting blown out of the water. But you got 2 National Guardsmen getting shot. And they don't say a damn thing. These people are anti-American. Trump had the family at the Oval Office, which is really nice. There's Melania in the background. They said he was able to move his feet and open both eyes. I don't know for sure, but I think he had a head injury. And they're sounding very hopeful. The great family of Andrew Wolf, our wonderful National Security Guardsman, who was badly injured protecting the capital of the United States of America. He's in the process of healing. His parents, brother, and all his friends are praying. I just met them at the Oval Office. They are fantastic American patriots. That's who I've got my thoughts with. That's who I think about. That's who I thank. That's who I get upset over if they get hurt. Not a bunch of narco-terrorists getting blown out of the water. What's this? Oh, here's something a little lighthearted. He didn't speak to his wife for 20 years. A man didn't speak to his wife for 20 years after an argument, raising 3 kids in silence until she finally apologized. Well, what do you think he said after 20 years? Maybe it had a good ending. Maybe he said, "I love you." But anyway, I thought it was cute. Now, who knows if it's even true? But just a little levity. Here, we were talking about Netflix buying Warner Brothers, which owns a whole lot of stuff, a lot of classic children's cartoons, movies, things that involve our culture. But you know what? All that stuff, where is all that stuff that I'm just now talking about? Think about it. Could they do like they did with Gone with the Wind? Once they buy the rights to all that stuff and just put it on the shelf or destroy it, never to be seen again? Well, David Ellison with Paramount is making an offer. That's why I put in the title, an offer they can't refuse. Because what I understand is this offer came up after the Instagram owned, the board has Susan Rice on there, and you have Barack Hussein Obama, have you heard of him, and Michelle involved, and they would not love nothing more than to destroy our culture even more. And I understand that that Trump has got a little bit of influence in this, right? With Paramount, they're putting in a better offer. And here's the guy explaining, Ellison explaining how their offer is better. And the board has a responsibility to its shareholders to get the better of the two offers.
Here now with David Ellison, the chairman and CEO of Paramount, which this morning has launched a $30 all-cash tender offer to acquire Warner Brothers Discovery, a company that I believe you bid at the last count 6 times for.
Correct.
But did not come up with the prize that you sought, hence this morning's news. David, why are you doing this?
So look, we're really here to finish what we started. Like, just to kind of take you through the road in terms of how we got here. On December 1st, we made an offer to acquire Warner Brothers Discovery to their board. Had a conversation with David Zaslav. He came back with a bunch of issues. We then, on December 4th, sent in a bid that addressed every single one of them that is superior to the bid that they signed up. Our offer is $30 a share, all cash, $41 billion in equity that's backstopped by the Ellison family and Redbird, $54 billion in debt with commitments from Citi, Bank of America, and Apollo. We have faster regulatory certainty to close, and our deal is pro-consumer, it's pro-creative talent, it's pro-competition, and we believe that when you actually, to further contextualize, our $30 in cash, $30 a share, is basically $17.6 billion in cash more than the $23 in share that they signed up.
Right. Well, you're not obviously paying. You're paying for Global Networks. Their deal doesn't involve paying for Global Networks, which are traded as its public company. Which, by the way, also figures very prominently here in trying to determine what the overall value of the respective deals are, because there are $27.75, including obviously the stock portion of their deal. But it also includes, well, what's Global Networks? Is it a $2 stock? Is it a $4 stock? What do you see? Because that can go a long way in terms of at least determining why the board may have said, no, we think Netflix is superior.
So respectfully, we think that basically that's valued at $1 a share. I think if you
why
look,
$1?
So if you look at Versant and where the median of all of this is, it's about 4.5 times. You have to get to 5 times equity value or more to basically get to the kind of $3 plus that you're claiming. But again, I think the most important thing to go back here is, look, we're sitting on Wall Street where cash is still king. We are offering shareholders $17.6 billion more cash than the deal that they currently have signed up with Netflix. And we believe when they see what is currently in our offer, that that's what they'll vote for.
Were you told during the process that cash is king?
Yes, absolutely. What we were told repeatedly was that they wanted all cash. We delivered all cash. We were asked that they wanted it to be fully backstopped by the Ellison family and Redbird. We delivered it fully backstopped by the Ellison family and Redbird. And when you look at the scale of the companies, right, look at the scale of Netflix, 310 million global subscribers. When you combine the #1 streamer with the #3 streamer, that creates a company that has unprecedented market power, north of 400 million subscribers. The next largest competitor is Disney with just under 200 million. That's bad for Hollywood. That's bad for the creative community. That's bad for consumers. And look at how the market is reacting to this deal. We are literally seeing talent talking about the death of movie theaters. We've all heard Ted Sarandis' comments about how he feels about the theatrical experience. And you've also seen, and our deal is also offering more cash per share.
So they're offering more cash per share. But the reason I'm showing you this, what I wanted to tell you all is that the Library of Congress has everything. Movies, art, books, stories, the product of our national intellectual property that produced by our nation, citizens of our nation. It all makes us part of what we are. It's our history. These things are all preserved in the Library of Congress. Remember when I told you about Howard Johnson having his yacht conscripted during World War II was called Doho, Dorothy and Howard Johnson. And I talked in the past how Trump, during an emergency, could commandeer businesses and make them produce things that are in the national interest. I'm going to give you an example. White House smacks down angry pop star after using her song in video showing deportations. The White House isn't backing down after singer Sabrina Carpenter accused the Trump administration of hijacking her music for an immigration enforcement video. Well, guess what? They're still using it. And she can complain all she wants. She can claim copyright all she wants. But he's the president of the United States. We're in a state of emergency. He can play your song any damn time he wants. And if Netflix thinks they can get our cultural heritage and destroy it or hide it from the public, they're wrong. Because it's all in the Library of Congress. Because it's part of who we are. So, but before Trump drops a hammer, we want to go through the process. We want to go through normal commerce, normal business deals, we want our institutions to work in the manner in which they are intended. If they don't work in the manner in which they're intended, we force them to work in the manner in which they're intended. And if that doesn't work, then we're at the precipice. That's when you've got one way to go. And that will cause disruption, civil unrest, and we'll do everything, history will show that we'll do everything in our power to avoid that. People can see what they did to many iconic things in our culture. What they did to Superman, what they did to Batman. Some of you put it in the chats the other day. Not just American culture, but in the UK, Doctor Who. They even made that creature from Predator, like the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. They did a Predator movie and made the Predator gay. So average people are seeing that these people are spending ungodly amounts of money to acquire things just to destroy them. But this case with Donald Trump that was argued before SCOTUS today, Supreme Court justices appear supportive of Trump on all important case. The Supreme Court conservative majority hinted Monday that President Donald Trump may have the power to fire a federal regulator without a cause, raising the stakes in a showdown that could topple a 90-year ruling. And they're talking about where Franklin Roosevelt fired a guy and he sued, and Humphrey's Executor is the name of the case. And the reason it's called Humphrey's Executor is because the guy sued, then he corked off. He died. So his estate sued the executor of the estate. And the Supreme Court granted this the estate of this deceased person back pay for the firing. But that didn't mean Roosevelt had to hire him back. We'll never know what the Supreme Court ultimate decision on that was, because the man died. All they said was he was due some monetary payment because Franklin Roosevelt wanted to put his friend in his position. So anyway, the crux of it is, I'm going to play this Jonathan Turley. The crux of it is, since that Humphreys executor ruling, which is a limited decision, they have piled on power. They've created these agencies that are answerable to no one, unelected, that have an extreme amount of power over our lives. And they spend money like drunken sailors, and they demand money, and they have lobbies. And they say that the President of the United States has no say-so over them. This is a huge ruling. It's huge. And Jonathan Turley will say, it's going to make Trump one of the most consequential presidents, he said, since Roosevelt, I believe, but he said maybe since George Washington. This is a big decision, folks. The power of the deep state is derived in part from this notion that they can have independent agencies that don't answer to the president and can do what they want with the federal government and executive power.
Us what he makes of all of it. Welcome to you, Jonathan. Please do share your reaction.
Thank you very much. Well, it was a fascinating argument, but I have to say, if I was a betting man, I would say that Humphrey's estate is not going to make it to 91. I mean, this is indeed a 90-year-old doctrine that helps shape much of the government in terms of independent commissions. But it has long been challenged by people who said, where does that authority come from? The president, as the head of the executive branch, has Article II powers to conduct the business of the executive branch. And this created a sort of weird creature that was half congressional, half executive. And since that case was handed down, there have been many who've said, that's a mythical creature. That does not exist in the Constitution. Many of the justices, and clearly a majority, were skeptical and even frustrated at points. They kept on asking counsel, don't keep on telling us that this has been around for 90 years. Tell us why this is part of the Constitution. What is your theory? And what are the limits? They really didn't hear back on that one.
Here is the oral arguments from Justice Kagan today, Jonathan. Listen.
Here's been the bargain over the last century, and I think it has been a bargain. Congress has given these agencies a lot of work to do that is not traditionally executive work. And they've given all of that power to these agencies largely with it in mind that the agencies are not under the control of a single person, of the president.
So how do you respond to her questioning the power of these agencies?
Well, Justice Kagan kept on returning to what she called real-world considerations. And that, frankly, is the last argument you make when you don't have a very strong constitutional argument, in my view. I thought that the argument really collapsed in front of these justices. At points, Justice Jackson seemed to step down and complete the arguments for the counsel. I mean, she was mainly arguing the case, not asking questions. When you do a head count, it does not look good for Humphrey's estate. Now, if the president wins this one, he would be the most transformative president on executive power since FDR, maybe even since Washington. I mean, he has really stretched the scope of executive powers. He's challenging a lot of these limits across the board, and he's winning a number of critical cases. This would be a very significant win in terms of executive power.
Wow. This is more from inside the court. Justice Kavanaugh, in what appears to be support of the president's actions. Listen.
Independent agencies are not accountable to the people. They're not elected, as Congress and the president are, and are exercising massive power over individual liberty and billion-dollar industries, whether it's the FCC or the FTC or whatever.
Thoughts on Kavanaugh's words, Jonathan?
Well, both Kavanaugh and Alito really made short work of those defending this law. They kept on presenting hypotheticals, what they called hard hypotheticals, of where does this take you? Both of them said, well, can you just go ahead and make any cabinet department an independent commission? Can you specify just one commissioner? Can you make their length in office 20 years? All of those questions left the other side floundering. The best that they could say at points was, well, if something like that happens, you could come back and look at it. Well, the justices are looking at it now. And one of the things that should be unnerving is that those justices that normally form an alliance in these cases with the left of the court were not there today. Chief Justice Roberts really stomped on Humphrey's estate and said that it was basically a desiccated or dried up precedent. Justice Barrett said these commissions don't look anything like what existed at the time of some of these earlier cases. So that's not a good omen if you want Humphrey's estate to live to 91.
Okay, they have it.
We'll see where it ends up. Jonathan, thank you very much.
They have at the bottom of the screen there, SCOTUS poised to expand Trump's power. I disagree with that. They are restoring the president's power. They're restoring it. And as we go through this, we have to realize that Trump has to get decisions through the Supreme Court to cement the corrections that we're going through right now. What we're going through is a correction. We cemented getting rid of Roe v. Wade. We're going to cement the president's power to have control over the executive branch as he should and as the Constitution intended. He's going to cement birthright citizenship only for people that are in this country lawfully and American citizens. We've got to go through these big issues and get them resolved. We can't just go willy-nilly arresting people, having a big show, and not have this stuff played out before the public. And what I want to say about this business of independent agencies. Politically, a president can say, he can use it as an excuse to abrogate his responsibilities to the American people by saying, well, it was an independent agency. And Congress can abrogate their responsibilities by saying, well, we didn't know what was going on. Just like what's happening in the states. Because you have a in every state, you have their agencies following this Humphrey executor's blueprint of that decision, that you can have these bureaucrats actually running the states, actually running the federal government, and they are free from any boss. They do what they want, when they want, and the governor can act innocent but play along and profit from it and recruit voters and then play dumb. So in a way, this is forcing people in the future, governors, mayors, presidents, to faithfully execute the laws of the United States and take responsibility for the agencies under their control. You think George Washington would have said, well, I don't know what they're doing. No, he tells them what to do. Our elected representative, not a bunch of faceless damn bureaucrats. And they want to turn the Supreme Court like Lizardhead, James Carville. He wants to turn the Supreme Court into some kind of Politburo, some kind of communist Politburo. Or another term they have in Russia and China is a presidium. A presidium instead of a court. A standing executive committee in a communist country. The standing executive committee in the former Soviet Union, which functioned as the legislative authority when the Supreme Soviet was not sitting. They're going on Lenin's playbook, Marx's playbook, to turn the court into a deliberative, authoritative body instead of a court. Here's where Trump said he's disappointed in Zelensky because he hasn't even read the peace plan that Trump's put out.
What's your next step in Russia-Ukraine talks after last week's negotiations?
So we've been speaking to President Putin, and we've been speaking to Ukrainian leaders, including Zelensky, President Zelensky. And I have to say that I'm a little bit disappointed that President Zelensky hasn't yet read the proposal. That was as of a few hours ago. His people love it, but he hasn't. Russia's fine with it. Russia, I guess, would rather have the whole country when you think of it. But Russia is, I believe, fine with it. But I'm not sure that Zelensky's fine with it. His people love it. But he hasn't read it. So someday you'll explain that one to me.
Well, we also know that Zelensky's chief of staff was relieved of his duties, and he's being prevented from leaving the country because of a corruption probe. And we also know that things are not going their way on the battlefield. So things are going to crack open there. What's this one? Here, move over here, Zelensky, while you're dancing. I got things to talk about. Let's see. Russia is currently seizing Ukrainian territory at the fastest pace since the beginning of the war, the Telegraph reports, citing the American Institute for the Study of War. According to data from Deep State, in November, the Russian army captured 505 square kilometers, twice as much as in October. These successes are likely to convince Trump that peace should be concluded on Russia's terms, and sending weapons and aid to Kiev is a waste of time, the British newspaper writes. Ukrainian channels report that armed forces of Ukraine are trying to withdraw from the southern outskirts of Myrnograd. So things are not looking good. They're going to have to sue for peace. That's the terminology they used to use. Sue for peace. And I'm going to give a reminder here. This is the post-World War II map of Europe. You see Germany is split in half, East and West Germany. All these lunatics that are jumping up and down for Ukraine couldn't even point out Ukraine on the map. Couldn't even point out Ukraine on the map. Do you all know where Ukraine is on the map? You see Poland, you see Hungary, you see Czechoslovakia, you see Romania, you see Bulgaria, you see all this stuff. Where's Ukraine? They couldn't tell you. Here is Ukraine. Right there. That little blob is Crimea. Okay? And you got Transnistria squeezed in there. My point is, there are no borders that say Ukraine proper. The Russians were in control of all of it, right up to the Polish border. There is no delineated Ukraine. There has been a delineated territory of Ukraine, but never a nation. There has been no national charter ever recorded at the United Nations or with NATO or with the League of Nations before them. It was always under Soviet control after World War II and Russian control prior. It bounced back and forth between Poland, Germany, and Russia over a 1,000-year period. Anyway, folks, I forgot. I don't know how you put that in there. If that link works in the somebody Pappy Two Bears did a copy and paste on the Buy Me a Coffee link and was able to go to Buy Me a Coffee because the link doesn't work unless you copy and paste it and then go. It won't go directly from here. So I put the link in the description if anybody wants to help out with Buy Me a Coffee. I should do that early in the broadcast, but I forget. Anyway, Governor Abbott vows to expand Turning Point USA chapters into every high school in Texas. And we also have Ron DeSantis on board with that also. So we're doing a lot of housekeeping. I'm just wondering if we can keep up with it. If we can get it done in time. I saw somebody put in about the Monroe Doctrine. Yes. Clandestine put this drawing up. And I want to talk about this the other day. Western Hemisphere. And he's in concurrence with what I have been saying. Most of us have been thinking. I think I see Trump's vision. He is setting all the wars around the globe. Settling all the wars around the globe and cleaning up the messes created by past U.S. deep state administrations, then consolidating interests into the Western Hemisphere. This is the death of globalism. Trump is undoing the past 100+ years of bad U.S. foreign policy and returning us to our former glory before we were compromised by the deep state. The days of the deep state using the U.S. to feed the military-industrial complex are over. The days of the CIA meddling in regime change operations around the globe are over. The days of global U.S. intervention are over. Let me go to the second. It was a long post. The days of U.S. politicians being bought and controlled by foreign interests like Somalis are over. Trump will cede U.S. influence presence in regions like Europe, NATO, Middle East, Ukraine, Taiwan, etc., and the respective powers will assume responsibility of their own regions. We will stay out of their regions. World War III is canceled. They will stay out of our regions. Once the world is back in a stable position and rogue deep state elements are no longer a threat to the people of the globe, think Iran nukes, then Trump and the U.S. moving forward will focus on the Western Hemisphere. Trump and the U.S. military will stop the cartels, drug trafficking, and human trafficking crises that are plaguing the Western Hemisphere. Trump is not just saving the U.S., he is completely reshaping the global order and saving the world. And I concur 1,000%. So it's a lot of work to do, a lot of multifaceted things. The drug companies, the CDC quietly put out revised guidance that you don't give your infant hepatitis B vaccines till they get older. That was a requirement. How many billions of dollars have the drug companies made giving a vaccine like that to a newborn infant? How much harm have they caused? They don't give a damn. Well, he's pulling the plug on Big Pharma. Big time. But we have a Congress that is recalcitrant, and we got to get the momentum back. We're losing momentum. Oh, I agree, Felix. It's a dangerous business. Roland, how you doing? Mac, nice to see you. Gary's going off grid. I saw back earlier we were saying to have stuff stocked up. And I got my stuff. It's dry food. I have an alternate way of cooking with a little camp stove and some propane, enough to get by. And it'll double as heat too if I need, but I got my wood stove. And I got my Sadie. I got cat food for her because there's nothing wrong with being prepared. We'd be fools not to be prepared. As much as we want to avoid it, it may get down to where things get a little shaky. Do you think that 90,000 people in one state are going to go easy? Back to their hellhole? What's this? I don't even know what this... Oh, that was the other day. Okay. Trump is going on a rally tour is the way I see it. Have you heard about this, folks? Trump is going to be going out and talking directly to the people, bypassing the media. Do you think at his age, he wants to do this? This is what makes me think he's turning up the heat because we are losing momentum. And we got to get it back. And one good place to start would be with John Thune in Congress to just realize the gravity of the situation and get rid of the filibuster and pass the SAFE Act so we can vote without this crap going on. By the way, here's Trump going to gear up his connecting back with the people again.
New Jersey GOP Congressman Jeff Van Drew joins us now with more. Congressman, thank you for being here. Tell us about how that call went and what you think the president needs to do on his messaging.
Oh, the call went great. It's always good to speak with the president. You know, I guess it's going to be going on 7 years that I changed and became a Republican. And always since that time, he was great. And we've developed a friendship. I am so happy that he's going out there. He is a president of the people. He loves working people. Let me be clear. Washington, D.C. is not the culture of America. Washington, D.C. is an incubator for political dysfunction and disease. I don't know how else to say it. And you've got to work there, and you get the job done there, and you get the bills passed. But then you got to get out in the street and talk to real people, the doctors, the pipe fitters, the iron workers, the teachers, just what really makes America move and makes America happen. That's what he does so well. We all remember the amazing rallies and when he went to bodegas and fast food restaurants. I love to see him out there. He does so well with that. I'm so glad to see him in Pennsylvania, a neighboring state to me in New Jersey. And I'm really looking forward to seeing him go around the country and sell what is a real plan for the future of America.
What would you say is the most important thing that Republicans need to be focused on right now to actually improve things for people who, you know, obviously we've gotten inflation down, but the problem is you've got to catch up with salaries. What do Republicans need to focus on?
Well, remember one thing, the Biden disaster, what he did to this country, it doesn't get fixed in a day. This has been about 9 months. When all of the work that we've done kicks in next year, it's going to be amazing. You know, no taxes on tips or lower taxes on tips, lower taxes on overtime, 85% of seniors not paying any tax on Social Security. When you go and buy a new American car, you're able to write off on your taxes, the interest rate, all that is going to be huge. We're going to have a good year, all the good things we did with businesses. But here's what we must remember. Don't argue with each other. Stop being selfish. Make sure that people understand we're with them. And healthcare. I've talked about this before. We have to give people that bridge. Obamacare is horrible. The ACA has been horrible and awful. But if we're not able to immediately get rid of it for a very short period of time, continue with it while we come up with a much better comprehensive plan, people cannot afford to have huge increases in their health care. That will be a mistake. I've spoken out about that, and I'm going to continue to do so. We have to take care of the American people.
You know, Congressman, I love that you brought that up because I think that the silver lining of that terrible shutdown that we just went through was people were finally able to see the truth about Obamacare, that it's being completely held up by all these subsidies. It's not affordable. And hopefully it is, as you say, an impetus for the Republicans to come up with a better plan that makes more sense. And I love the idea of the president going out into the country. He's a people person. He needs to tell that story. I mean, you bring such a good point about, you know, when the economy was cranking, it was under the first term of President Trump. It did take about a year and a half before we started feeling the effects of that. So there's that. But I mean, I still remember, Congressman, right before COVID hit, it was a year before, you know, a little less than a year before the election. People thought he was absolutely unbeatable because the economy was so amazing. Why can't he do that again? Of course he can, right?
He can do it again. He's got, and he will. He's excited. He loves people, and people really do love him. It's so much fun when he gets out there, but it's also good. We can talk about what the real issues are and what's really going on. We were on a path to destruction 4 years ago with President Biden in charge. This is just so much better. We can really do this thing. We can win. We shouldn't give up. We have to come together and really, again, make America great again. We're going to do it. We can do it.
That you have the stockings hung and the nutcrackers.
The other thing that we're going to do, that Trump is going to do, I think he's going to put forth a health care proposal on this tour that he's going to do. We got to watch him, watch what he says. We have got to remove this Obamacare, which has taken over 1/3 of our economy is under a Marxist program that's got to be excised and removed. So, and Trump is going out to personally do it. So we'll be looking forward to that. And I've got another video I'm going to play for you all on my way out. What do I always say? I always say, thank you for spending your precious time with me. Folks, I really appreciate it. And I should be going live soon. So if you're subscribed and hit the notification bell, you'll know when I go live. I hope you all enjoy this little video. And Does he look familiar to you? He looks familiar to me. So you all have a great night. I'll be seeing you soon. This is Mountain Man, over and out.
'Tis the season to deport 'em, fa la 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 la. We love ICE and we support 'em, fa la 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 la. Send them on one-way vacations, fa la 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 la. Ramp up those mass deportations, fa la 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 la. We've deported millions so far, fa la 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 la. Next we'll deport Ilhan Omar, fa la 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 la. Look at how those thugs are acting, fa la 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 la. Let's send those bad hombres packing, fa la 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 la. As your favorite president who gets along very well with Santa Claus, our gift to you is mass deportations. Thank you for your attention to this matter.